And you thought 70 bucks was a lot for a brand new video game. Let's try $80. Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Hope you're all doing fantastic. We've got a very controversial topic to talk about today that takes root from one of the biggest companies in video games, one of the most successful companies, and they are making a push and a pitch for upping those prices. And I'm curious to hear what you all think about it, so we'll get into that. But first, I do want to talk about Nintendo's latest announcement of the day, which is a brand new Pokemon cartridge coming to Switch this November. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switch Force. Happy to be here. I saw someone say, and I typically don't like to give energy to comments that are negative, but I saw someone say that they think my happiness and my positive demeanor is an act. I'm really just excited to be here. I really do look forward to every darn day. I find little things that I'm excited about every day, and I'm excited for what could be announced, what's coming, what I get to play, who I get to talk to, what I get to see, and it's football season right now. The Lions are winning. I'm a freaking happy camper, and my life is really, really good. I'm very blessed and lucky, so it's not an act. I'm genuinely just a pretty lucky, positive, good, happy person. Now, Nintendo's trying to be good, I guess, with this new Pokemon bundle release. It's very strange, it's very odd, and I do want to spend a little bit of time on it because they announced today that they'll be releasing a Pokemon Scarlet plus DLC and Pokemon Violet plus DLC new pack, new cartridge on November the 3rd. Two things very strange about this. One, the first DLC, the one that just came out, Teal Mask, is on the cartridge. But the second DLC, it's not out yet with no set release date, is still going to be a download. So rather than waiting until both DLCs are out and then releasing the complete package, instead you get the base game on cart plus DLC 1 on cart, and then you still have to download DLC 2. Kind of odd and seems counterproductive. Why not just wait a few months and then put out like a complete Game of the Year edition, or however they want to call it, deluxe edition, whatever, with all of it, right? Like, then the cart is complete. Instead, you still have to download part of it, and it's not all on the cart, and it doesn't have its longevity. Other thing that's really confusing is November 3rd. Why November 3rd? Putting on my tinfoil hat, November 3rd is the same release date as the new WarioWare game. Why would they double dip on the same day when nothing is happening November 10th or that week? Remember the days I've talked about lately. If you've been following any of my Switch 2 conspiracy theory videos with Amiibo restocks, Nintendo's investor call, and the way that they're just leaving November strangely open, plus announcing all sorts of Nintendo lives in Asia that don't really make a lot of sense, here's another clue, another coincidence of keeping that November 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time frame really wide open. They easily could drop this a week where it has nothing else Nintendo to compete with. And we know Nintendo loves to do that, right? They make sure like, oh, this is our Mario Wonder marketing week. Oh, this is our Detective Pikachu marketing week. So to see that they're dropping this new Pokemon cart on the same day as WarioWare, even though they really don't compete with each other, is very strange, especially considering that you do have an open week 7 days later with nothing going on. And I just really want to hope and believe and, get all whimsical about the fact that there could be a secret Nintendo Switch 2 teaser around November 10th. I don't know. A lot of things are adding up. It might be nothing. I don't want to, hammer this point home too hard because it's just like a theory. But things continue to get weird, stay weird, and be weird for November. Why release this then? Why not wait till DLC 2 is out? Why aren't they putting the bundles out in November? Why are those bundles coming out in a week, in 10 days? Why are the bundles out in October? What's going on? Well, we'll talk about that as we get closer to November. But one thing I really want to get your opinion on, and I think is fascinating, is this discussion about game prices are too low. This comes from Capcom's president. All right, he was talking at TGS, Haruhiro Tushimoto. Sorry for the pronunciation. Haruhiro Sugimoto. That's probably correct. He said that he thinks that game prices have not risen at the same rate as development costs, and that it would be a healthy option for the industry if we did bump the price of games even above 70 bones. A lot of dollars, a lot of cash, games cost a ton. But his point that the inflation costs of game development are not matched by the inflation costs of video games themselves is hard to argue with. That's something that numerically you can't really deny. Yet at the same time, $70 is very, very affronting to some people, right? It's scrutinized. If you have a $70 game, you better bring the heat. You better bring enough game to be worth it. Well, if it goes to $80, then we're going to be even more concerned with how good and how much value this game brings. So I don't know what you think about this, but I saw some responses that were very interesting from developers saying like, something's got to give. Either dev costs have to come down or game prices have to go up. So at the end of the day, if you had to pick between either games costing more, say $80, or games being smaller, less polished, a little bit worse graphics, not as much content, which would you rather have? Think of it like a scale. These two things kind of need to move in concert. We can't have it be really lopsided, otherwise it's just not sustainable, at least according to what developers and publishers are saying. So would you rather have the game development costs stay up here, awesome, amazing, huge games, but then your price is gonna rise? Or would you rather bring the price down a bit, but then the cost of development is coming down a bit, which then automatically equates to less people working on the game, less time spent on the game. We can't have 5-year development cycles with 300 people and expect the games to stay at the same price point or roughly the same price point that they've been for decades. This is such a tough, tricky dilemma right here. And I wanted to bring in a rumor that I saw recently. It was about Grand Theft Auto 6 costing $150. Now, I don't think there's any world where GTA 6's regular version costs $150. Deluxe version or collector's edition, absolutely. But the premise is interesting, right? A game that they know is going to do super well, a game that is super packed with content, a game that has tons of popularity. Should they upcharge those games, and do you think that is okay? In a way, we've experienced this as Switch fans because Nintendo has a $70 game, right? Nintendo has released Tears of the Kingdom at $70 because they either felt it was worth it, they knew they could get away with it, they took a ton of time developing this game, they wanted to test the waters, whatever it is, they said, hey, this game is worth $70, we're going to charge you this much. And gamers ate it up. They really did buy that in droves. It did not impact sales at all. The game sold better than any Zelda before it and already has crossed 25 million and will be one of the Switch's mega sellers when all is said and done. If they were to release, say, Resident Evil 9 over at Capcom for $80, do you think that would impact sales? Now, according to Sugimoto, he says that any sort of economical downturn, recessions, things of that sort, he specifically calls out 2008 stock collapse, and it did not affect people's decisions to buy games, according to him. He says the development costs are about 100 times higher than they were during the NES era, but software prices have not gone up that much. There's also a need to raise wages. Considering the fact that wages are rising in the industry as a whole, I think raising unit prices is a healthy option for business. And here's another piece of the puzzle that we have to consider. In light of the recent writers' strikes and things of that sort, should video game developers be getting paid more as well? And if they are to be paid more, that only increases the development costs, and thereby increases the cost of the game itself. So now it's not just, are you willing to pay more so the game development cost can be more, but are you willing to pay more so that the game developers can also make more? Is there a part of this that is sort of our responsibility that like, hey, we should pay more so that these people, these hardworking people, these committed people, these talented people can get a higher wage? And I know some of you will say, no, that's the company's responsibility. But at the end of the day, they're paying for it. That increases the cost, and somewhere that cost has to give. Now, we can argue about if these game publishers make too much money, too little money, but a lot of them are being bought out. A lot of them are shutting down. It's not like all Scrooge McDuck pools of money for game developers and publishers right now. It really just is not. Nobody is just raking it in, save for maybe Nintendo. It seems like they have piles of money. But on a greater picture, bigger look at the industry, there's still a lot of difficulty. And so something is going to have to give. If we want better wages for these people as inflation continues to turn upwards, if we want games to stay at their incredible quality, we're looking at these cinematic masterpieces like Spider-Man 2. And even if you consider something like Mortal Kombat 1, the quality of those cutscenes has elevated to Hollywood status even over their most recent past release, Mortal Kombat 11. And now we're saying Nintendo games are going to go 4K, going to have ray tracing, HDR, like they're going to be beautiful, brilliant, huge. Everything's open world. Zelda, Mario might be open world. With these bigger games, are you okay with bigger costs? Or do you think we should see some other sort of reduction elsewhere to keep things as they are? I think the jump from 70 to 60 didn't really meet as much pushback as I would have thought. I remember making a video about 10 years ago where I talked about game prices going up to 70 to help, meet development costs, meet salaries, and everybody hated it. Everybody hated the video horribly. But now, okay, people seem to be more understanding of the fact. If we have another quick jump to 80, will you still be understanding? Like, if they say this is what we need to charge to continue the games being of this quality, and I feel like quality is at an all-time high. I feel like we have so many stellar, stunning games, and I think that should factor in. If we were at a period of doldrums where, like, every game kind of sucked, everything was under-delivering, under the content that we wanted, under the graphical level that we wanted, underperforming, then maybe we, have a different discussion. But the fact that we're getting so many great games, and Game of the Year, like this year, is a tough call between so many top titles, do you take that into account and say, okay, games quality is fantastic right now in the industry, I'm okay with another price increase if they feel this is what they need to maintain this quality? Or would you rather them sacrifice that quality, risk the scope and scale of games to achieve a lower price, or even the price that it's at right now? I think $70 might be the shortest time spent at a certain dollar amount. We were at 50 for a long time, 60 for forever. I wonder if we'll be at 70 for a very quick little bit. I'm not saying right away next year we hit 80, but within the next 3 years, I do think game prices go up. And I wonder if there will be some sort of staggered system where we do see certain publishers upcharge for very popular, very prominent, very successful games. Personally, I don't like that idea. I would rather everything go up a little bit than be milked for a game being super good. Like, if the next God of War is 100 because God of War is always great, I don't know how I feel about that. GTA is 120 because everyone buys it, plays it, gets 3 copies. I don't know about that. I guess I'd rather it be across the board and there still be a standard. I don't want game publishers deciding that their AAA game is worth more than another AAA game. It just feels a little bit like they could really manipulate that in a way that would be more hurtful than if everything just saw an increase. But let me know your take in the comments down below. Very curious to hear what you all think on this. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive. And until next time, Switch Force out.